Imagine this, you're at a Hollywood party. Celebs everywhere. Fancy drinks. Big smiles. And then, in the middle of it all, Will Smith storms across the room, eyes locked on Keanu Reeves. People freeze. Music cuts. Cameras come out. And before anyone can say a word, it's about to go down. What happens next? Not a slap. Not a punch. Just one sentence from Keanu that shut the entire room down, and the internet hasn't stopped talking since. Let's break this down. So, it all started with one of those exclusive Hollywood invitations, the kind you don't just get in the mail. They show up in sleek black envelopes, handed off by personal assistants or slipped to managers like secret weapons. This one? A private party thrown by one of Hollywood's untouchable producers, a guy who doesn't even need to make movies anymore because his streaming service money prints itself. Location: an insane $80 million mansion deep in the Hollywood Hills. The kind of place with koi ponds inside the living room and an infinity pool longer than most people's careers. On the list were names that could light up any headline: Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, even Elon Musk awkwardly lurking by the outdoor bar like a tech bro at prom. But no one was paying attention to them. All eyes were on two men. Will Smith. Keanu Reeves. They weren't standing together. Not yet. But their names floated through the air like electric static before a storm. See, just a few weeks earlier, Will had gone on a popular podcast. He wasn't even asked about Keanu, but out of nowhere, he dropped a sharp comment: "Yeah, Keanu's cool, I guess. But Hollywood doesn't need soft heroes anymore. We need people who bring real heat." The clip went viral, of course. People debated if it was shade or just a throwaway line. But the truth? Behind the polished smiles and red carpet photos, Will's been carrying something since that Oscars slap heard round the world. His confidence? Publicly intact. Privately? Different story. And then there's Keanu. The opposite. Silent strength. No drama. No flexing. Just kindness mixed with that mysterious edge that made John Wick cooler than cool. And tonight? Both were at the same party. Same room. Same energy. And that tension? You could feel it, buzzing like feedback on a microphone right before it screeches. Keanu showed up late. Black suit. Crisp shirt. No entourage. Just him. He didn't need anyone hyping him up. As soon as he stepped through the doors, people turned to look. He didn't command attention. Attention just followed him. Meanwhile, Will had been there for hours. Laughing loud. Throwing out charming one-liners. Classic Will. The life of the party. But every time someone mentioned Keanu, his smile tightened just a little. As the night rolled on, the unspoken became impossible to ignore. Conversations drifted away from casual industry gossip. Everyone was watching this silent collision course unfold in real time. It wasn't if anymore, it was when. The crazy part? Phones were supposed to be locked at the door. This was supposed to be one of those rare events where rich people could be messy without ending up as the next meme on Twitter. But what the host didn't know was that someone smart had hidden a phone behind the catering setup. Just in case. Just for insurance. And that someone was already recording, camera pointed at the slow building storm forming in the middle of that glossy, art-covered living room. Two legends. One room. A fight nobody asked for, but once the footage hit the internet, everyone would be watching. And right then, Will started walking toward Keanu. And that's where everything changed. The room was buzzing, but not in the good way. Not that fun, electric Hollywood party buzz. This was different. Thicker. Like the air before a thunderstorm. Will Smith moved through the crowd like a shark at a pool party. Calm. Collected. But with that edge, like someone daring someone else to test him. Keanu? He hadn't moved. Still at the balcony. Still holding that same untouched glass of sparkling water like it was a trophy he didn't want but respected anyway. He stood in his classic stance, shoulders slightly hunched forward, relaxed, polite but distant. Keanu didn't do drama. He never had. But Will wasn't going to give him a choice. People started accidentally shifting closer. They weren't obvious, but come on, it's Hollywood. Everyone's trained to watch a scene unfold like extras in a movie. Conversations died mid-sentence. Drinks were held tighter. Phones might have been locked up, but eyes? Cameras. Recording everything. Then it happened. Will broke through the last few clusters of designer suits and rented dresses, smiling like this was just a friendly catch-up between peers. Keanu, he said loud, flashing that 1,000-watt grin. What's up, man? Keanu turned, meeting him with a nod. Calm. Collected. Evening, he replied softly. You could almost hear the room lean in. Then we'll let it drop. I gotta ask, what's it like playing the same guy in every movie? The jab wasn't subtle. It wasn't funny, either. More like the kind of insult you wrap in a compliment just to see how someone reacts. And it worked. Someone gasped. Quietly. The background music suddenly felt too loud, like it didn't belong anymore. But Keanu didn't blink. He just took a sip of that sparkling water, let the silence sit there like a weight between them, and calmly said, "Feels good. Keeps a lot of people employed." That one hit different. Even a couple of producers standing nearby chuckled, but they tried to hide it behind sips of overpriced cocktails. Will's smile? Fading fast. He stepped in closer, his voice dropping low but sharp enough to cut glass. Nah, man. Seriously. You're a nice guy, I get it. But when's Hollywood gonna wake up and stop giving all this space to safe actors? Where's the realness? The fire? Keanu just looked at him. No anger. No ego. Just that same measured tone that's made directors fall in love with working with him for 3 decades straight. I don't need to act angry to be strong. That hit harder than any punch could have. Because everyone knew exactly what that was about. No names were said. But everyone standing there could hear the ghost of the Oscars slap hanging heavy in the air. Will's jaw tensed. His hand flexed, curling halfway into a fist, before he caught himself. One of Will's boys, standing off to the side, started stepping forward like he was ready to back his friend up. But Will shot him a glance, "Stay out of it." For a second, it looked like it might blow over. Maybe just heated words. Two massive egos in a small room bumping against each other like tectonic plates. But something in Will wouldn't let it go. That frustration, that bottled-up embarrassment from 1,000 memes, late-night jokes, comment section roasts, it was all boiling up right here. Right now. And Keanu? He didn't posture. Didn't puff up his chest. Just stood there. Still. Steady. Calm. The calm in the center of a brewing storm. And that's when Will took a step too far. He raised his hand. Not fast, not yet a slap, not yet a punch, more like an instinct, a reflex, a man caught between pride and regret. That's when Keanu moved. But not like you think. No punches. No blocks. Just his hand, raised halfway, palm open. The entire party stopped breathing. And somewhere behind the catering table? That hidden phone, still recording. For a heartbeat, everything froze. Will's hand was half raised, not quite a punch, not quite a slap. Just that awkward, tense middle space where pride and regret meet like two cars playing chicken at 90 miles an hour. Keanu? He didn't flinch. Didn't move back. Didn't even look nervous. Instead, he did something that hit harder than any punch could have landed in that moment. He raised his palm. Open. Calm. Measured. Like a peace offering. But more than that, it was a line. An invisible one. A signal. You don't have to do this. The energy in the room shifted so fast it felt like someone flipped gravity upside down. The group of partygoers standing close by looked like statues, stuck between wanting to look away and needing to see what came next. Even the music, still playing softly in the background, sounded completely wrong now, like someone had accidentally left the jazz playlist running during a UFC fight. Will's chest was rising and falling faster now. Sweat starting to gather at the corners of his forehead, even in that perfectly tailored suit. Here's the thing about Will, the guy's been a showman his whole life. Fresh Prince, Men in Black, Independence Day. Always the cool one. Always the funny one. But right now? None of that charisma could save him. Because this moment wasn't about movies. This was real. Keanu's eyes didn't blink. Didn't shift. They just stayed locked on Will, like an anchor in the middle of a hurricane. And then he spoke. Soft. Clear. Deadly calm. This isn't you. 4 words. That's it. But those 4 words slapped harder than anything Will could have thrown. It wasn't judgment. It wasn't mockery. It was disappointment. Pure, raw disappointment from a man who didn't even know Will that well, but knew enough. The worst part? Will knew it too. You could see it hit him, like a ripple under his skin. Like a boxer who just realized mid-fight that his opponent isn't fighting him. He's fighting himself. Behind Will, his entourage was frozen. Behind Keanu? Just silence. Even the bartenders were pretending to polish glasses that didn't need polishing, sneaking glances with wide eyes. For one terrifying second, it still felt like Will might go through with it. Fist tightening. Teeth clenching. Shoulders tense. And then? He let it go. Hand dropped. Shoulders sagged. All that heat, all that frustration, just collapsed. No punch. No slap. Just shame standing in its place. Keanu nodded once. Not smug. Not superior. Just understanding. You don't have to prove anything to me, man, he said softly. And then, like nothing happened, he turned and walked away, slipping through the stunned crowd like a ghost leaving behind unfinished business. The noise didn't return right away. It was like the party had been dunked underwater, everyone unsure how to act. Like they were witnesses to something sacred, or maybe just something tragic. And then someone whispered. Did anyone get that on camera? And they did. That secret phone behind the catering? Still rolling. Capturing everything. Not just the almost fight, but the moment Hollywood's favorite action star dodged drama the way he dodges bullets on screen, smooth, controlled, legendary. And Will? He just stood there. Fists unclenched. Smile gone. Staring into the empty space where Keanu had been, surrounded by people who didn't know whether to clap or cry. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. By the time Keanu had made it to the valet outside, the damage was already done. That video? Already on 3 phones. One from behind the catering table. Another from a producer's assistant near the bar. And the third from someone who definitely shouldn't have been recording, but who knew exactly what they were doing. 30 seconds of footage. That's all it was. No punches. No shouting. Just the look on Will Smith's face, hand frozen midair, and Keanu. Standing still, calm, and saying the line that was about to live on in meme history, "This isn't you." By the time Keanu's car pulled up, that footage was already bouncing through encrypted DMs like a hot potato. First to a gossip blogger. Then to a TikTok account known for Hollywood drama drops. Within an hour? It was everywhere. The headline hit first: Will Smith tries to fight Keanu Reeves at Hollywood party, instantly regrets it. The comments? Nuclear. Keanu's been dodging violence on screen for decades. Of course he can dodge Will Smith. Bro tried to run up on John Wick, fatal mistake. Will fumbled another legacy moment live? Even worse? Someone added subtitles to the clip with dramatic music underneath. Now it wasn't just drama, it was cinema. Meanwhile, back at the party, Will could feel the storm brewing. It started with whispers. Then glances. Then full-on people staring at their phones while standing right next to him. Hollywood doesn't have mercy. It has short attention spans, brutal jokes, and Wi-Fi. And tonight? That was enough to bury a reputation twice. A manager tried to step in, whispering damage control plans. Something about press statements, apologies, spin control. But Will wasn't listening. For the first time in a long time, he didn't have the words. Not a joke. Not a comeback. Not even an excuse. And Keanu? Gone. Just a whisper of expensive cologne and that unshakable calm he carries around like armor. Somewhere in the mess, Will's phone buzzed. It was Jada. No words. Just a link. To the video. His chest sank like someone tied a brick to his ribs. It wasn't just embarrassment anymore. It was history repeating itself. Oscars all over again. Memes all over again. His legacy, falling apart in real time. But here's the worst part, Keanu wasn't even trying. He wasn't grandstanding. He wasn't filming himself. He didn't sell the footage. He was just standing there. And standing there was enough to break the internet. That's what made it sting. This wasn't just another Hollywood scuffle. It was the slap part 2, but flipped. This time, Will was both the aggressor and the one who looked weak. By midnight, TMZ was writing full breakdowns. TikTok creators were reenacting the scene. Twitter was ablaze with hashtags like #Keanu dodged and #ThisIsn'tYou challenge, where people posted videos of themselves stopping fights dramatically like Keanu had. And the cherry on top? Someone had already printed t-shirts. Big bold white letters across the chest, "This isn't you." Will wanted to punch a wall. Maybe break his phone. Maybe disappear. But it was too late. Hollywood forgives a lot. Cheating scandals. Bad movies. Weird interviews. But what it doesn't forgive? Looking weak twice. In front of cameras. And Keanu? Keanu didn't have to say another word. His silence said everything. But the story wasn't finished yet. By sunrise, it wasn't just a viral moment, it was a Hollywood crisis. 2 icons. 1 clip. A million opinions. Some people took Will's side, saying he was just defending his pride, that maybe Keanu said something behind the scenes that triggered him. Others? They crowned Keanu king of cool like he just survived another Matrix sequel in real life. One thing was clear, this wasn't just about 2 actors anymore. This was about legacy. For Will, this moment was the echo of something he thought he'd already moved past. The Oscars. The memes. The endless jokes about slaps, apologies, redemption tours. He thought he'd climbed out of that hole. Thought he rebuilt. But now? He was back under the microscope. And this time, it wasn't against a comedian on stage, it was against Keanu Reeves. Different game. Different rules. Keanu didn't play Hollywood's drama games. No tell-all interviews. No subtweets. He didn't even have a PR team pushing angles. He just existed, and somehow, that made him untouchable. Meanwhile, Will was drowning in headlines. Will Smith vs. John Wick, who really won? Peaceful King, how Keanu defused a Hollywood fight without breaking a sweat. Will melts down in front of Matrix legend. It got worse. Podcasters jumped on it. Twitter Spaces popped up overnight arguing who's the real alpha. Between the two. Reaction channels did frame-by-frame breakdowns of Will's hand position like it was game footage. People weren't just entertained, they were dissecting it like scientists examining a fossil. But in the middle of all the noise, something strange happened. Keanu posted. Just one thing. No caption. Just a black screen with 2 words in white, "Be better." That was it. Not aggressive. Not shady. Not a name drop. Just a message aimed at everyone, and somehow, aimed right at Will. It was like watching someone win a fight by shaking hands. That's what stung the most. Will wasn't dealing with another celebrity willing to trade shots on talk shows. He was dealing with philosophy with a jawline. And as this played out, the private messages started hitting Will's phone. Not from trolls. Not from random followers. From other celebrities. Some checked in with quiet support. Others. They were choosing sides. And Will felt it one by one, people starting to drift away. Not because they hated him. But because Keanu represented something they all secretly wanted: control. Class. Mystery. You could apologize after a scandal. You could cry on talk shows. You could throw money at PR teams. But you can't fake dignity. And Keanu? He had it bottled like perfume. Behind closed doors, there were whispers about studio deals. Directors asking nervous questions like, "Can we afford the headlines if Will's attached to this?" Executives passing on scripts quietly. Brand deals pulling back, softly, so the media wouldn't notice too fast. And on the other side? Keanu's stock shot through the roof. Merch sales. New interviews lined up. His next movie trailer mysteriously dropping early, timed perfectly to ride the wave. By noon, someone had already edited together a full-length Keanu versus Will mini-documentary on YouTube with millions of views. The fall of a star versus the rise of a legend. But here's the part nobody saw coming: Keanu didn't want it. Didn't enjoy it. Didn't gloat. For him, this wasn't a victory. It was just sad. And that's what separated them the most. Will was still trying to fight the room. Keanu was busy walking out of it. As the cameras kept rolling, the takes kept multiplying, and the merch sales went wild, one thing was obvious: in a world obsessed with who's loudest, Keanu won by being the quietest person in the room. And Will? He was left standing in the noise he'd built around himself. No punches. No slaps. Just one cold truth: sometimes, the loudest defeat is delivered in silence. 2 legends. 1 moment. And the internet's never letting this one go. Keanu didn't throw hands, he threw class. Will tried to bring chaos, but walked straight into silence. Now it's your turn and drop a comment. Whose side are you on? And if you're here for crazy stories, hit that subscribe button. Catch you in the next video.